Pathways. In a world where everyone rushes to get an elytra, who even walks anymore? But here's the thing, by skipping paths, are we also skipping one of the most powerful parts of Minecraft? What if I told you that ignoring pathways might be the reason your world feels empty? We see all those big YouTubers spend literally days to build massive buildings, making sure they look as grand and epic as possible. But many never bother to connect them up to the rest of their world. They just sit there, gorgeous, but kinda lost. Like a mansion in the middle of the void. And why would they connect them up? They fly everywhere they go, to be as time efficient as possible. I'm just as guilty of this, to be honest. My builds aren't nearly as big, but they still often sit randomly in my world, looking a bit out of place, and with no clear connection to the rest of my world. But I changed all of that, which is honestly super easy. You probably guessed it already. Laying down some quick dirt paths is pure magic right here. And just like that, the pieces click into place. Dirt paths, the simplest of blocks, suddenly become the glue holding everything together, giving your world a hint of story. Take this floating obelisk I have in my world, for example. It is hiding my creeper farm on the inside, but that is no longer just a floating thing. The people of my town studied this old structure, trying to figure out how it is floating and what its purpose is. The villagers later added their own redstone tag onto the ancient magic, modifying it for their own needs. However, I still flew everywhere to save on time, so the paths were just a visual improvement so far. But we can do better. Pathways can add so much more to your world if you just let them. They can give you a reason to slow down every once in a while. Instead of flying everywhere, I try to walk a lot more. Sometimes I even take my horse, called Frank, if I'm going somewhere further away. Saddle a pig if you're feeling a bit crazy. Just, don't ask me how long it's gonna take to get anywhere. Anyway, also, my goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so I appreciate all the support from you guys. And here's where it gets fun. While walking to your destinations, you start noticing things you had never seen before, and you think to yourself, this area looks a bit empty and boring? There isn't much going on here, honestly. How can I make this more interesting? And thereby filling in gaps with cute little buildings, making the journey a pleasant experience. A bench, a campfire, a lily pad pond. Tiny additions with a huge impact. If you're into these kind of cozy, detail-rich builds and want to explore them to yourself, I've made the world download available on my Patreon. And all of a sudden you have a bunch of small, quick projects that are super fun to build and keep you away from that dreaded burnout. No overthinking, no planning, just pure creative chaos. The good kind, of course. After you have added those points of interest to the side of your pathway, your quick and simple dirt path doesn't look as good anymore. So you go ahead and design some new ones to raise them to that new bar. I made a video on 10 different path designs that includes one for every scenario, so make sure you check that out for additional inspiration. The one I'm building right now is from that video. And oh boy, let me tell you, upgrading my paths? Total game changer. My town didn't just look better, it finally felt like a place. The houses aren't just cute houses anymore. They are part of a greater whole now where buildings and paths are in a perfect balance, complementing and helping each other shine. Districts are clearly noticeable thanks to the change in path texture. Farm areas don't have the same level of infrastructure, like the core of your town, and trails connecting faraway cities are being poorly maintained and therefore more overgrown and rustic. Even the width of the path varies depending on where it is. The busiest areas in my town got a 5-wide path, whereas less common areas and farm paths are only 4 or even 3 blocks wide. And depending on which style you are going for, you have many different lighting options to play around with. We do want to keep your kingdom and its people safe after all. Personally, I'm on the team Jack-O-Lantern, Bury those suckers on the ground, cover them up with moss carpet, and mobs won't know what hit them. After all, we all hate it when creepers destroy something you just finished building. It's just nothing worse. You have connected your buildings with pretty paths, and you filled your empty spots with little buildings. And you're regularly taking a stroll through your world, enjoying all the hard work you put in. But something is still missing. An incomplete picture. But after all this work, what could possibly still be missing? Well, plants, flowers, grass, perhaps even some custom trees and rivers. Plain grass works, but watch how those two paths make you feel. Tell me the second path isn't much more inviting. So spam that bone meal, tuck in leaves, and add those new bushes if you have. Scatter the new leaf litter blocks and let nature claim the edges. Just make sure to get rid of all that too high grass, so no creepers can hide in them. And you can mix this up too. Sometimes you walk through a tightly packed forest, so there isn't much light coming through for the flowers to grow. Some other times you may walk over some stony terrain, so little boulders all over the terrain makes a lot of sense there. In the end, you will have a world that is no longer disconnected. Now your buildings don't just exist, they belong. And those pathways? They're the thread that ties it all together. The combination of both make up this big, cohesive world that you can be proud of. Thanks to street signs, you will no longer get lost in your world after you take a break from it. There were too many occasions that I just completely forgot where buildings are after taking a couple months of a Minecraft break. Let's not have this happen again. And you are less likely to burn out or get bored, because you can switch it up from all the big projects. Remember, we play Minecraft to have fun and relax, enjoy the beautiful world we are creating. And being able to walk through your world sure goes a long way there. See what I did there? Thanks for sticking around, everyone. If you want to walk these paths yourself, the world download is on my Patreon. See you in the next one. Bye!